Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning, all of you. Can you hear me? Can you all hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, good morning. All right. How many of you tried to complete the time class? Were you able to work on the time class? Did you test it out? How many of you worked on the time class? Does it run? Not sure. Okay, we'll see it in today's class. Okay, so this is what we were doing yesterday. Okay, so we wanted to write a class that can represent time, isn't it? Okay, where the time is given as hours, minutes, and seconds. Okay, and therefore we defined a time class. Okay, with a constructor. Okay, that takes in the hour, minute, and second, and then we define some useful methods to go with the time class. What are these methods we did? One is to convert the time given into entirely seconds. Then one of you suggested maybe we can convert the time, that is the Indian time, into the GMT time. So that also we did. Okay. And then we thought that we should be able to subtract the two time objects to get the time that has elapsed between start time and a stop time. So if I say stop time minus start time, what is the length of time? What is the length of the intervening time? I should be able to find out. So we propose that it would be very intuitive if we can use the minus sign to subtract two time objects, and this is the result of the subtraction. Okay, we want the minus operator to be interpreted as the difference, okay, in the times indicated by the time object. Okay, usually, if you use the minus operator, it only works with numbers, and if you give some other object, it will say type error, isn't it? Okay, you try it out. Okay, you take two time objects and just give a minus between them without the magic method sub in that particular class, and it will return a type error. All right, so if you want to be able to actually use the minus sign between the two time objects, we have to write the magic method _sub. SUB stands for, what does SUB stand for? So anyone, what does SUB stand for?
Subtraction.
Subtraction, okay. All right, so likewise, there are many more magic methods for each of these operators, and they can be overloaded. And this sort of a method that we are writing here to reinterpret a particular operator for objects of this class, isn't it? So this entire thing that we are doing here, isn't it? Okay. So this is what is known as operator overloading. Okay. And why is it called as operator overloading? Because the minus operator, we are overloading it to have a special meaning when it has two time objects. And what is that special meaning? That is given in the code here. Okay, that is given in the, oops, what happened? So that is given in the code here. Okay. So we are overloading the minus operator to have the special meaning. So that is why this is known as operator overloading. This concept is called as operator overloading. All right. Similarly, there are many operators we can overload. If you want to overload the plus operator, we just have to write the magic method _add. If you want to overload the greater than symbol, we have to write the magic method double underscore GT. Okay. And we can say whether one time object is greater than another, basically convert both to seconds and then we can compare them. Directly, they are not comparable because they are not numbers. So therefore, we have, but seconds is the number. So we can convert both to seconds and compare their seconds. And that can be returned as the Boolean value that is of interest to us when we are doing the greater than comparison. All right. So like that, we have less than comparison, double underscore LT. We can overload the multiply operator. Okay, that is double underscore MUL. We can overload the division operator, double underscore div. Like this, there are many more magic methods, and I'll provide you a full list of these magic methods over this weekend. All right. So any of these magic methods can be overloaded for the given class. All right. Okay. All right. So any doubts about operator overloading?
Sir, actually, I don't have doubts on operator overloading.
Okay.
Sir, actually, that cells, comma, you are putting the def in it, cells, comma, hour, comma, minute, comma, second, no, sir. That first line.
Even the constructor.
Ah, yes, sir.
Okay.
Sir, actually, with that cells, that hour, minute, and seconds will be assigned, sir. Is it like that, sir? The cell consists of that hour, minute, and second. Is it like that, sir?
No. See,
When
I
we
think I
assign,
posted. Oh, I think I posted the slides for this. I'm not sure if I posted the slides or not. But we discussed in class, isn't it? That's why I had a couple of classes that went over the background, the conceptual background for this. See, any method we write within the class, the first argument is always self. Okay, the first argument, first parameter for any method that we write, okay, including the init method, the first parameter is always self. And what does that mean? The self refers to the calling object. Okay, so there's the object that calls the class definition, isn't it? So that is the self. Okay, and the other parameters are the actual arguments that you pass to the method. Okay, so self is the calling object. You say list some list L dot append, okay, of some element, isn't it? But when you go to the append method in the list class, you'll say def append. The first argument will be self, comma, what is the element you want to append? It actually has two arguments. But when we call the method, we say the list object L dot append. So that L is automatically passed as the first argument. It is the calling object. So when we have our object and call the method, we do not explicitly use self. That is understood. But when we write the method definition, when we define the class, the self has to be explicitly specified as the first argument parameter. I mean, this is how it works. This is the syntax. The rest of them are the arguments. Hour, minute, and second. So let's try this
yes,
out.
sir.
And I think, sorry.
Sir, yes, sir, understood, sir. But what I am getting now is if I put time dot, then I will be then it will be showing 2 seconds to GMT sub add. It will be showing like that, sir. Time dot. If I'm going to put.
Yeah. So let's try it out. So we have only written the code. We have to try it out, and maybe it will become clearer. So let's see. Let's try it out and see if the doubt gets cleared. Okay. So what we will do now. So we see we've written one class here. We've also written one function here. And this function basically takes some seconds and converts it back into a time object. Okay. So this is the calculation we make using the def div mod twice. Okay. Remember the div mod is a very useful function. We've already used the div mod somewhere else. Where did we use the div mod? Where else did we use the div mod? Anyone?
Power set.
Power set, isn't it? Good. All right. Okay, so it does occur. It's a useful thing because it returns both the quotient and the remainder. All right, so this is what we have. Let's try to run this. Um, all right. Unexpected indented block. Oh, I don't have a return here. All right. Say pass. Okay. Well, yeah. From yesterday, we had something there. All right, now it is done. So let's try to declare some time objects. So let's say morning, isn't it? Okay. Morning is equal to time of, let's say, 060000. Okay, it's just a number, isn't it? It's an integer. So I think we'll have to just say time of 0 is to 0. Okay. Oh, we have to give them as arguments, isn't it? Okay. So 6 comma, okay. 0 6 comma 0 0. Let's see if this works. Okay. Mon is equal to again comma 0 comma 0 and like this. All right. So this I have now created one time object. Let's see what the time of here is. Type of mon. You see it says time, isn't it? It's of class time. Let's see what happens when I print time. Print mon. Again, this is what it prints. We need to overload the str method here. So let's overload the str method as well. This self is the argument. What do we have to return? We want a nice format. What is the format? That's the format like, we have this 10, 17, 30 like this, isn't it? So this is the format we want. Basically, we say self str of self.java, isn't it? Okay. Plus colon plus str of self.min plus colon plus str of second. Is that fine? Everyone agrees with that?
Self.second.
Fine. All right. So let's now again execute this. Okay. Now, why is it not printing X? Okay. You see, even the function works. The function is working here. Something I had given here and it's working. All right. Now let's declare our object. So mon is equal to time of 600. Now, if I say type of mon, the class time, but print of mon. Now you see it gives you a very nice printout. Now, one enhancement we can make with the str is if the self dot one of the instance variables, the hour, min, or second, if it's just a single digit, then add a 0 to the front. Okay, so that we can add as a enhancement. So right now we are not going to do that, but it's simple to add, isn't it? So it's very easy to add. All right, so we have this. Let's say noon is equal to time of 12 comma 30 comma now 12 comma 0, isn't it? I'll give 30 seconds here. And then let's say class time. Class is equal to, it's a keyword. So let's say class time is equal to time of 8 comma 45 comma 15. All right. And then let's say evening equal to time of, what is it, 16 comma 15 comma 55. All right. Okay. So now let's also say some start time. Start is equal to time of, okay, let's say from 11 o'clock, 11, 1, okay, 8 seconds. And let's say stop time, the time of, let's say it goes on till 2 o'clock, isn't it? Something like this. All right, so I've created some time objects. So first I'm able to create time objects, then the str method works. And now what we want to do is, let's say I want to convert my morning time into seconds. How many times have passed, isn't it? So mon dot, see now I get all the methods and the attributes associated with the time object. Okay, I get both to seconds and to GMT. Okay, there are no arguments because it only requires the self and it returns the time object in seconds. So this is the number of seconds for 6 o'clock, isn't it? So 6 o'clock is nothing but 6 times 3600. So 6 times 3600 is nothing but 21,600. That's what we have as the answer. So that method is working. So let's see now morning to GMT, isn't it? Or let's say noon to GMT. So when it is noon here, the GMT time will be 5.5 hours earlier, isn't it? So if it's noon, it's probably, what is the time there? What is the GMT time for noon? Anyone? It has to be 6:30, isn't it? Okay. You see, now it's only saying it's a time object, so there's a problem here. This method is not working. Let's see, let's go back. Okay, so we have this to time of tot set. Something is not working here, to GMT, isn't it? So why is it not working? Tot sec to time of tot sec return like that. Oh, it is going 5.5 hours in forward. It has to be backward, isn't it? Okay, so it has to be minus here. See, this one thing is minus, then it will work. Because it is 5.5 hours earlier, isn't it? So it's minus here. So that was a logical error, but we've been able to fix the logical error. All right. So it's working. The only thing is,
The two-time function is returning a time object, sir.
yeah, two-time function is returning a time object. That is correct. Yeah.
So in the ideal, if you give print of function, then it will work properly, sir.
Correct. Very good. Because here it's just returning the time object. So if I want the return value to be printed nicely, how can I do that?
So
REPR.
REPR, excellent. Okay. So if I can overload the REPR method, okay, then even this time object will be printed well. Okay. So all I have to do is, if I just take this, okay, and I say def double underscore REPR double underscore of self, I give this. We'll save it later, otherwise, because we have to create all the objects again, but we know what we have to do, isn't it? Now let's try to subtract two time objects. We have created some start and stop time, or let's find the difference between the evening and the morning times. So let's say evening minus morning. Let's see if the minus operator is overloaded. Okay. Again, it is just giving me this time object. So if I do a print of this, it will work. That is because the REPR method has not been overloaded. So usually in the program, we don't need evening minus morn, isn't it? We only use print statements. But since we are interactively using it, the REPR is useful. Okay, in a program, only the STR counts. But in interactive use, the REPR is also useful. So you see, it only returns the time object, isn't it? The to time returns the time object. So that accesses the REPR if present. Otherwise, it gives the memory location of the object. All right. So now you see, 10, 15, basically 10 hours and 15 minutes between the morning and the evening. Is that correct? So morning is 6 o'clock, evening is 4 o'clock. So yeah, so that is 10 hours and 15 minutes. All right, so it works perfectly. So we have been able to overload the minus operator. Okay, so that is great. Okay, so for example, if you were to say a string, you were to subtract two strings. Okay, see, it says type error because it is unsupported operand type for the minus. So str and str is the unsupported operand type. Why is it a unsupported operand type? Suppose I want to define AB minus B. Okay, I want this to return A, isn't it? Because I'm subtracting the B from the strings. Let's say some operation like that, and this should return A. So here's a valid minus used for the for the strings. So why is minus sign saying that it's a returning a type error, saying the str is a unsupported operand type? Anyone?
Because integers do that operation. Sorry.
Yeah, integers do, but here we are doing it for time objects. So likewise, why not the str is also could have the minus? Why is it not there?
Sir, first we have to define str of that object and put the minus. Then I think it will work.
First, you have to define str for.
No, sir, we have to define str of A minus str of B. Then I think it will do that minus.
Then it will work. You try it out in the idle. How will that work? Like this, you are saying.
Sir, I think the subtracting operator is not supported by string objects.
Good, excellent. Who said that?
So Keshav, sir.
All right. You see, to be able to use the minus between objects of a given class, the class should have overloaded the operator. Okay. The class definition should have the operator overloading. If the string class does not overload the minus operator, then how can we use the minus operator between strings? Isn't it? Obviously, none of us have really seen the internal implementation for a string. Okay, but we don't have to see the internal implementation to infer that the minus operator is not overloaded in strings. How do we infer that? Because we use the minus operator and it does not work. So it does not work because it is not overloaded. Okay, as simple as that. So the minus operator has not been overloaded for strings. Okay. Similarly, but if you take the plus operator, if I say AB plus A gives me ABA. So what does this mean?
The string concatenation.
It concatenates.
It concatenates, but what does that mean?
Plus operator.
They overloaded the magic function add with a concatenation function.
Good. Okay. Right. So the minus operator is not overloaded, but the plus operator is overloaded for strings. Okay. So if we were able to look into the internal implementation, it's all open source. If you want, you could look at it. Okay. And if you look at the string class, so string is a class, it's a compound data type, it's a class definition. We have string objects, isn't it? So if you look at the string class definition, we'll find a method for plus operator overloading. That is, we'll find the magic method _add. Okay, where it says if this plus operator is given between two objects of string type, you just you just concatenate. Okay, so it gives the code for concatenation. So now if you use the plus operator between two strings, it just concatenates the two strings and returns the value. All right. Similarly, what we can do is, so is this a legal function?
Yes, sir. A will be returned as A.
Right. How is this even possible, isn't it? Okay. So this is basically because now we have again a overloading of the multiplication operator. All right. All right. Fine. So that is about operator overloading, and we have seen that it works with the time object, isn't it? So let's say print of stop minus start. So I started at some time and then I stopped at some time. So let's find the time that has elapsed between stop and start and 3 hours and 12 minutes. Let's say you were doing some activity, okay, and you started the stopwatch or something, and then you noted the time, start and stop times. Now you want to know how long, what was the duration of the activity, okay? So here it is, isn't it? Stop minus start gives you the duration, 3 hours, 12 minutes and 9 seconds, right? So, all right, so I think we have seen pretty much all the functions that we have coded, all the methods. So constructor, 2 seconds, to GMT works, subtraction works. If you want, we can add str works. Let's just do the GT alone. Okay, so let's say start greater than stop. Is it true? It is false. But evening greater than morning, it is true. Okay, so the GT, we have been able to overload the GT as well. Now suppose I say evening, isn't it? Morning less than evening. What will happen? Anyone?
Unsupported operand type will come, sir.
Very good. It'll be a type error. Okay, because the less than is the operator. Okay, and it has to be able to compare the two operands on either side of it. Okay, and it sees that they are time objects, and the time class does not have a magic method for less than, isn't it? That is double underscore LT. So the operator is not overloaded for time objects. It does not know what to do with these objects. So it will say unsupported operand type for time and time. Oops. Okay. All right. So I think if you define the GT, it is also taking the LT. Okay, that is strange, but it is doing that. Okay, let's say morn is equal to evening. Is false. Oh, I think, okay, just doing one of these operators is giving you all the relational operators. Could be the case, but let's say start plus stop. Okay, so there's the error. Okay, so let's say print of start plus stop. None. It is not adding the time objects. Okay. This is interesting. Okay, so some method that we overload also counts as overloading for the other methods. So that is interesting. But if we were able to, if we were to take out this definition, isn't it? Let's say we just comment it out, and then we say, let's just save it. Let me just come back here. Let's say print of on. Let's just see. So all this, so the plus operator, it's not giving a type error, but it's doing something else. What? Let's say this. Now it's saying a type error. Okay, so if you overload the minus operator, it does not give a error for the plus, but it also does not do anything. Okay, but if you overload the greater than operator, it is taking a implied meaning for the less than operator, which is the reverse of the greater than. Okay, so you don't have to overload the greater than. Okay, so I think these are improvements to Python in the latest version. Okay, I'm not sure if it will be the same behavior on your version as well, but I'm using the latest version. I think the latest version today is 3.9. This was 3.8.5, which is my version. I think it was 3 months ago. But even in this version, they have implemented this particular thing. That is, if the greater than magic method is overloaded, the meaning transfers to less than method as well as equal to method, equality operators as well. So that is fine. Let's say that, let's create another object. So now we have morning like that. Let's say early morn is equal to time of, let's say the same thing. All right, so now what we do is we say morn is equal to early morn. Let's see. Again, it says false. Yeah. All right, so it is returning some value for the equal to operator, but it's not returning the same value, isn't it? Okay, so so it is reading something from the greater than, okay, but it doesn't have the exact definition. So for the exact definition, what we need to do is we'll say def double underscore equality, and we say self comma other, and so what do we write here? Anyone? Return what?
Equal to equal to.
Equal to equal to. Good. Now we can also have some default values for the minute and second. If we don't specify what is the minute, you can say it is equal to 0 minutes. If we don't specify the seconds, it's equal to 0 seconds. Okay. So, but then we can mandate that the hours must always be specified. All right. So these are default values. So these are now become named arguments. They have become named arguments. The only positional argument we have is hour. All right. So with these improvements, we can try to run this again. Okay. So let's say. All right. Okay. So now what we do is all right, and finally this one, and then this one. All right, so now let's say early morn equal to morn. So now you see it says true. Okay. All right. So this is behavior of Python. We cannot where it is not known what the behavior is. We have to test it, run it, and then see the behavior. Let us not assume some behavior. Okay. So unless where the behavior is not clear, okay, we have to run it and then see what behavior it is, because the implementation isn't, it has been done and we do not know what behavior has been implemented. Okay, so previously we did not overload the EQ method, but when we said morn equal to early morn, it gave a false. It did not give a type error, even though we did not overload the operator. So it was taking some meaning from the overloading of the greater than operator, but still it gave a false. But then we explicitly coded the magic method for the equality operator and we overloaded it. And now when we give the same thing, okay, early morn equal to morn, or let's say morn is equal to early morn, isn't it? It is giving a true, and this is the right behavior. So, I mean, with the implementation, we can be sure what the behavior is. Okay, when we bank on the existing implementation, okay, that is a bit uncertain, isn't it? Because we don't know what behavior has been implemented, and that behavior may also change from one version to the next. All right, so it's better to be explicit. Okay, what we do. Okay, that is in our coding. If you want the equality, let's overload that operator. All right. Now, next thing we want to do is let's try to create some time objects using the implied arguments. So let's say morn is equal to time of 6. Okay, it's just 6 o'clock, 6 hours. So it's just 6. Now, if I say morn, it gives me 600. It's the same thing. Okay, so I can say evening. Okay, evening is equal to time of 4:30. Okay, and I just say 4:30. And now if I say evening, gives me 4:30 and 0 seconds. Okay, so in this way I can make enhancements. Just like in the function, you can have some named arguments. It's the same thing for the class definition. You pass the arguments because the init itself is a constructor. It is a function, except that it's a function associated with the class. It's called a method. And therefore, the arguments that you pass to this method or function can have some named arguments, and you can give some default values in these arguments. Okay, and if you don't specify, when you create an object and you don't pass these arguments, then the default values will be taken. Okay, that is the use of the default values. Okay, 0 seconds is default, and usually I don't want to specify the seconds, and we take the seconds as 0. That is the default value that is attached. Okay, All right, so now we have seen many different concepts coming together in the script. Okay, we've written class, we've written a function, we have called the function within the class, the two-time function. We have returned a class object itself from a method. Okay, we have overloaded operators, we have used magic methods. All right, and and we have pretty much written all the functions, methods we would like to have with the time object. All right, and you can do a lot more in the main program. All right, so okay, so is this fine with everyone? Any questions, anyone? Seems to be working, isn't it? Yeah, yes, no, maybe.
Sir, I have one like it's not doubt, one clarification about my understanding.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Sir, first thing, above we did one we entered one code in this shell window, that is subtraction, minus. Instead of concatenation, we did subtraction, and we found out that since we didn't give any magic function, that is sub, we didn't give. That's why it is not giving any output in default Python. One more thing is like I understood it in one more way, sir. So please correct me if I'm wrong. That is, we read in the beginning of the class that string literals are immutable. So something, suppose AB, if we are giving it as a string, one whole string, so we can't change that. But whereas concatenation, in the sense, we are just appending another string to the string, we are combining those two. But whereas subtraction means we are trying to remove B from the already created constant string. So that is why it is not giving us any output. It is giving an error. So that is what I understood, sir. Am I right or am I wrong, sir?
Yeah, yeah, you know, this concept of string literals, constants, mutable data types, immutable data types, isn't it? Okay, so immutable is like, you know, straightforward to understand. But when we come to the string literals and constants and variables, the terminology is very fine. Okay, and those are really fine distinctions. Now, what we have here is, when you say the string is not immutable, a string is not mutable. But when you add two strings, we get a new string, isn't it? The string itself, the string literal is not modified, but we are returning a new result. There's an operation on the strings. The question is whether the operation is legal or not. We can add the strings and return a new string. So that is not a problem. Similarly, if we have two strings, can I use some legal operation between them and return a new string? That is the question. If that is the question, the answer is yes, because we are using some operation and returning a new string. That is possible. Similarly, I can overload the minus operator to do a concatenation. It's not a problem. Okay, it can be overloaded in that manner. The thing here is, isn't it? If I want, like, yeah, AB minus A is equal to AB minus B is equal to A or something, we are returning a new string. We are not mutating the AB. That's a string literal. So string literals don't present a problem. The problem is when you assign a variable is equal to AB, and then that variable we are trying to mutate, the existing variable, isn't it? If you're reassigning the variable, it is not a problem. But if you're mutating it, like you're saying, the string is iterable, isn't it? So the string, the letter in the second position, you want to change it, but you cannot change. Okay, but you can reassign the variable to an entirely new string literal. Okay, so that is how it works. I don't know if it's very clear or not, but the thing is, okay, the string literal is immutable. I mean, we don't have any control over the string literal itself, because these are absolute constants. This is a string, like Python, you know, it's a string. Okay, or like 1,000, it's a number. This is a literal. It's a, you know, it's a literal. It's a number literal, isn't it? So these are you know, literals. You know, and we have, these are fixed. Okay, but we can assign a variable to hold the value of these literals. Okay, the question is, can we mutate these variables? Okay, the question is not about mutating the string literal, it's about mutating these variables, because these variables are the objects. The literal themselves are objects, but that's a slightly different context. Okay, so can we mutate these variables? If you mean by mutating that a particular element in that particular variable, that string variable has to change, we cannot do that. Okay, we cannot say, let's say a is equal to Python and a of 2 is equal to, let's say you want to change it to instead of t, you want to change it to some other letter a or something. That is not going to be possible. We cannot mutate the string that is held by the variable. On the other hand, the variable can be assigned to a new string, reassigned, completely reassigned. That is possible. Okay, so I don't know if it answers your question. So the thing is, we can add two string literals and return a new value. Okay, we can add two strings, we can perform an operation on two strings and return a new string. That is perfectly legal. Okay, by mutability, we mean a slightly different concept. Yeah. Is that
Sir,
fine?
yes, sir, I understood, sir. So that means you are saying that we can, like, concatenation is something which is giving a new result to us, on which is performing an operation on two different strings and giving the result to us. So the same way, minus, if we are using, since it is not overloaded, that is internally it is not overloaded, but we can create an operation. I mean, we can create a method inside the default Python and get the result. Is what you are saying, sir? Am I right, sir?
No, I'm not. No, yeah. That's somewhat, that is more or less what I'm saying, but I'm not asking you to go and change the string
No,
definition.
no, sir. No, I just wanted to
Yeah.
differentiate between
Yeah,
what is
yeah,
actually
what?
that meaning,
True.
whether I have learned it correct or not. So that is what, sir. And one more thing,
Absolutely.
sir.
No, the entire reason I'm, pointing to this is because I wanted to think in these directions. Okay, we are using all these objects, and when we use them, it is sort of interesting to understand. Okay, what has already been done with the Python, isn't it? We can apply the knowledge we have gained and get a better, deeper understanding. So that is what I'm trying to, sort of demonstrate. Yeah.
Sir, one more thing, sir. In the test, you gave one question: how to go to the word T inside that big list, which is given.
Correct. Yeah.
So for that, we will actually we'll use square brackets actually in the answer. We'll define the position of each and every element in that list. So like that, we'll go till the word T.
Yeah.
Now mutable immutable concept, if I'm thinking in that perspective, I can't change the T. Suppose there is a bat, that word is bat, I can't make it bad, bad. I can just extract the word T from it, but I can't do any changing of that. Am I right, sir?
In fact, you're wrong.
Okay.
Why are you wrong? Can anyone tell me why? Is it Vijay?
Yes, sir.
Sir, we can specify that indices by using the subscript operator and change the variables for t. It is possible, I think.
It is possible because it is a list and a list is mutable. On the other hand, you are right. If it's a string, it's not possible.
So if that bat is inside that list, I can change it to bad. But if it is, I'm giving it that string to a variable and I'm trying to change it, I can't do that.
Yeah, string you cannot do it. But the one asked in the exam was entirely a list. It was a list within a list within a list. So therefore, those elements can be modified because a list is mutable, isn't it?
Sir, but the bat is a string over there, no, sir.
Oh, bat is a string.
Yeah,
Correct. Yeah. Yeah, bat you cannot change.
Same.
That is correct. That is
That's what, sir.
absolutely right.
Same doubt.
Yeah. Yeah, that bat you
Bat
cannot
is
change.
an entirely.
No,
It is given under one. So that two quotation marks between that bat is given. So that's a
bat is
string in
given.
itself, no, sir.
So that string, when you access, you cannot mutate it. You're absolutely right. But you can completely replace that element by accessing the larger list. It's an element of a larger list, and that list can be mutated. So the entire bat can be replaced by bat. So that can be done.
So instead of bat, I can give any other word like rat or something.
Yeah,
But
yeah, anything you
inside
can
that,
give.
I can't do anything.
Inside that you can't do. I mean, whatever we are subscripting, okay, we have to find out the data type of that which is being subscripted. And if that data type is mutable, then it can be mutated. Otherwise, it cannot be mutated. Okay, so we do it on a case by case basis. Good.
Sir, is it like what you are
Understood,
telling
sir.
is inside the list you are given the bat as a string? Is it that what you are telling, sir?
Yeah.
So we
Inside the
can't.
list, okay, let's just take an example. I'll just tell you, let's take an example. So I forgot what was given in the exam, but let's say I thought it was just numbers, but there are some strings as well there, isn't it? Bat and 3 and 4. Okay, and let's say now I have some 5 and cat. All right. All right, so now what we want to do is, how do I access the T in the bat? How do I access the T in the bat? So L of first, 2, 2 of 0 of 2, and I get the T, isn't it? Now what I do is, I say this is equal to bat, isn't it? That's what Vijay wanted. Now you see, it says str object, okay? It says str object does not support item assignment. In fact, what we can do is, you can go back to this and you can say type of this, isn't it? Let's say type of this. And you see it's an str. So absolutely you cannot change it. All right. So, all right. Now, but what we will do is, now I'll say what is L of 1, 2, 3, 4, isn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4, 5. L of 4 is cat. Now suppose I say L of 4 of 0 is equal to R, again it's a error. But if I say L of 4 is equal to rat, it is fine. Okay. All right. So now it works. You see, so the whole thing can be replaced. But within the string, you're not going to be able to mutate the string. Okay. Now, if I were to take the 3 here within the list, let's say L of 2 of 1, that is 3, and I can say L of 2 of 1 is equal to 10. Now, if I say L, you see, I can mutate those elements, isn't it? Okay, because the list is mutable with these numbers. Okay.
Sir, in the place of 10, can you put some string letters, string element?
Yeah, you
For
can
L
do
of 2 of
anything.
1.
Yeah, yeah, you can put anything. See, I can say this is equal to, what is it? Mat. Okay. Yeah, you can do anything. I mean, these are elements of the list, and the list is mutable. The full element is mutable. Okay, the list elements are mutable. But when you do the T is part of a string, and the T is not mutable. The elements of the list are mutable. Okay, when you are replacing the entire element, the list is mutable. But so this will also be a string. But what we do is we say L of 2 of 0 they are replacing the entire string. So that is fine. Okay. So because it's an element of the list. But when you go inside the T and you want to replace the T, it will not allow you to do that. Okay. So that is the problem. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Got it, sir.
Good, excellent. All right, so all this you should try it out. Okay, I mean you have the idle, we have the interpreter, everything is there at your fingertips. Okay, so all these different combinations, permutations. It's a good question that Vijay asked. No, but when you want to further explore, you know, it's all there at your fingertips. No, all the combination, everything, what can happen. No, that understanding, it's not, let's see how it works. You can try all of these, and the idle will help you learn. Okay, the learning will happen as you explore. Okay, so that's where the learning is really happening. Okay, any other question from the test? Anyone?
Sir, this is not from the test, but one more good thing, sir.
Ah,
Sir, now in all the objects we have created now two classes actually, coordinate and time. And that we have defined various methods, various objects and all we have done the coding. Now, wherever we are using that magic functions, for example, double underscore GT, double underscore add, are these names which you are giving, sir, add, GT, these are all inbuilt or we are giving those names?
these are the magic methods. That means they are, the method is this name, whatever the class may be. If you want to use this operator with the class, this is the method you have to overload. That's why they are called double underscore methods. It's a standard name. Only if you use this method, the operator will be overloaded.
Yes, sir, that is okay, sir. I am asking that name which you are giving under double underscore ADD, double underscore GT, that we are giving, or is it actually inside that and we are trying to manipulate the action of that? Inside the Python, it is built in inside the Python and we are trying to give answer for that, or are we giving the name? Now, for example, RAPR, representation.
Yeah. See, we are calling this as operator overloading. Why are we saying overloading? Because you can use the plus operator in any expression, but is it a valid way to use it? Okay, the plus operator will check for the operands. Only if the operands can be supported by the plus operator, it will do something. If they are numbers, it will add the numbers. So Python has to check when you execute the code, it will check. You say A plus B. A may be a number or it may be a string. It's not known when you write the code. But when you execute the code, A will have a value and B will have a value. And then Python will check whether the plus operator can work between A and B. So obviously there's some code for the plus operator. And if they are numbers, Python knows what to do with them. But if they are some other object types, and you still want the plus operator to be valid between them, then for those types, we have to overload the plus operator. So that is why we write our own method for the plus operator, and we override or overload the base error you will get. Okay, we don't call it overriding here. Okay, we come to overriding as when we do inheritance, but here it's called overloading because usually it only works with numbers. You want it to be applicable to further objects, further types. So therefore, you overload the operator to also be available for newer classes. Okay. So therefore, you write that magic method for whatever classes you want, so that the operator is available for objects of those classes.
Sir, so that means it is already built in. We are just trying to add an additional functionality for our own convenience.
Absolutely. I mean, that it is already built in is quite apparent. I mean, if it were not built in, how will you add numbers? So there is some meaning for the plus operator, isn't it? It works. It's an arithmetic operator. We know it's an arithmetic operator, but obviously there's some code, some instruction, okay, that tells the computer that when there's a plus operator, something has to be done that results in the additive effect, that results in addition, isn't it? So that is the thing that is already there. That is what is built in. Okay. So each of these has to be translated into the machine language, isn't it? Okay. Plus operator is what we use. So obviously it is being defined. Okay. To cause the additive effect, to cause the addition. So obviously there's some code in it.
Got it, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, good question. Okay. Anything else? Any other question from the assessment? Anyone? Okay. Now I'll just make a short poll. If there are any questions from the assessment, please ask the question, or you can post it in the classroom. Or if you want to discuss during a class, you let me know. but they are very simple. You just do the idle, you'll get the answers. You just have to check every answer, isn't it? So we'll do a poll now. Okay. So we'll say our second assessment, isn't it? Will be on Wednesday, second hour, isn't it? Okay. What is the date on Wednesday? That is 18 November. Okay. That is sure. Maybe. Only two options I'm giving. Okay. Sure and maybe, isn't it? Okay. So we must conduct all these. It will again still only be on the first unit. I'll give you another test on the first unit. Maybe I'll make it the format of the questions. I'll change it. Less of multiple choice and I'll make it something else. So let's launch the poll. We just have 2 minutes. Quickly enter your responses for this. Okay. So we're going to have like 7 or 8 assessments before the end, isn't it? So I don't think we want everything at the end. So we have to space this out. Okay. So I encourage everyone to vote. It's your test. I'll show the results as well. So far, only 15 of you have voted. So please go ahead and vote, everyone. So I will assign a weekend problem on the classroom. Let's say a new class. I'll ask you to write a new class and maybe some methods that will be useful for the class. Okay. So I'll think about that and I'll post the problem in the classroom. Okay. Oh, students using a mobile cannot poll. Okay, yeah, all right. All right. All right, fine. We have come to the end of the hour. We'll stop the poll there. I hope all of you can see the results as well. Okay, I think we'll schedule it for the Wednesday. Okay, we have 12 sures to 8 maybes. Okay, we have enough time over the weekend as well. So do some Python over the weekend. Okay, happy Deepavali, everyone.
Thank you, sir. Same to you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Happy Diwali, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Bye-bye. Yeah. Yeah, bye. Have a good day. Bye.
Thank you, sir. Happy Diwali, sir.